Thank you. We'll see you soon. Hello, hello, welcome. We're so happy that you're able to join us here this afternoon for this WiCyS webinar. We're thrilled to have our strategic partner, Verizon, presenting today. We have women in cybersecurity, and we're talking about all sorts of wonderful things at the Verizon and the cybersecurity workforce. So my name is Lynn Dome. I'm Women in Cybersecurity Executive Director. We often go by our acronym WiCyS, and we spell that WiCyS, and we pronounce it WiCyS, like we sisters, because that's exactly what we are. We are a cyber sisterhood. Oh, and my slides just jumped right off. So let's see if I could try this again. And our mission is to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity. And we do so by creating opportunities. We have over 5,700 members that are comprised of women, men, allies, and advocates that all have a strong mission and passion to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity. In addition to that, we also have 49 professional affiliates, and those are mini WiCyS organizations. They're all throughout Africa, Australia, Canada, France, India, Pakistan, the UK, and throughout the United States. And then we also have specialty affiliates like WiCyS Military, WiCyS Neurodiversity, WiCyS Cloud Security, WiCyS BISO, and so many others. Also, we have 167 student chapters. In addition to that, all our initiatives are on our website, so I encourage you to please go to WiCyS.org, check out our initiatives, check out our training programs. We have a training program enrollment that's closing today. We also have a training program that's going to be launching in 2 weeks. We also have an online member forum, newsletters. We have scholarships, grants, and awards not only to our conference, which is March 16th through the 18th in Denver, Colorado, 2023, but to other conferences as well. We have a cyber talent emergency fund, and our speaking and media opportunities are there for our members to be what others can see, and that's the cybersecurity professionals they are. Our Job Board Plus Plus is available to all our members 24/7. And that's a place where all our strategic partners, we have 59 strategic partners that fund us as a nonprofit with the year-round benefits. And those strategic partners post their jobs and recruit from the Job Board Plus Plus 24/7. Apprenticeship programs, internship programs. We participate in market research. We have leadership summits, leadership series, leadership workshops, and so much more. So if you haven't done so already, I encourage you to please subscribe to our newsletter. But we owe all that as a special thanks to our strategic partners such as Verizon that's bringing us the webinar here today. And then our tier one partners are AWS, Bloomberg, Carnegie Mellon Software Engineering Institute, Cisco, Fortinet, Google, Intel, Lockheed Martin, Meta, Microsoft, Optum, Sandia National Laboratories, and SentinelOne. So I encourage you to please ask questions. We have Rebecca and Cheryl here that are going to be answering questions live at the end of their presentation. And so now is your time. You're here, and at the bottom of your screen, there's a little section there for you to put your questions and continue to ask those questions throughout the webinar today. And at the end, these ladies will be answering those. Again, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our newsletter. And with that, I'm going to hand it on over to Cheryl and Rebecca to take it from here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cheryl Lanzer, and I am a senior manager for cyber defense engineering. And I'll tell you a little bit about me further on in the presentation. I have with me my peer, Rebecca. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Rebecca Newman Mahoney. I'm the Senior Manager of the Network CyberSecurity Center.
So we're going to talk to you a little bit about some of the things in cybersecurity, some of the challenges women have, why women might not choose that career, some statistics that would shock you, and then some prerequisites on how you can get a career in cybersecurity and how you can get certain ways and information for learning. And then Rebecca is going to talk to you a lot about what the Network Cybersecurity Center does and how all of that information that you find online can be applied to an actual security analyst role. So did you know cybersecurity is a challenging field for us to pursue? There's a large shortage of professionals in this area, both women and men. This is a great opportunity for us to take advantage of as women to join cybersecurity. So just these are the facts. Some of the statistics I said might shock everybody. There's about 3.7 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs. Men definitely outnumber women 2-to-1. According to CISA, women make up only 24% of the cybersecurity workforce. So when you compare men to women, higher percentages of women are in cybersecurity executive positions. So I show that below, 7% might be CTOs, might be a woman, versus 2% would be a man. 9% would be women versus 5% as a vice president. So it's interesting that we're on the lower end of the security, the total workforce. However, we make up more of the executive or C-suite workforce. So what's the solution? Think women. We belong in places where decisions are made. I think a lot of us can agree on that. So a little bit about me. I did not have a traditional follow the path to cybersecurity education and background. In fact, I didn't even want to go to college. I actually tried out for the ice capades because I like to figure skate. And my mom said, no, you're going to go to college. So I went to college and I got a business degree. It wasn't until well out of college that I started to get involved with computers and technology. And actually, I was a system administrator for some time. And then I moved into cybersecurity. And that's when I started getting more into the hardware and software, the networking, the certifications, and learning about cybersecurity and connecting myself with professional organizations and joining like-minded organizations for women so that I could talk about some of my experiences. I do volunteer champion at Verizon. I've only been at Verizon 4 years, but in the time that I've been here, I've had 2 roles and I'm really enjoying. I have just recently changed to a new role in cyber defense engineering, and it's wonderful. And I am continuing to build on my career and continuing to learn at Verizon. Circling back, I am a volunteer champion. So what that means is I encourage others at Verizon to come out and volunteer. And I try to help lead volunteer projects. In my spare time, I bake and I cook. And when I used to be in the office with Rebecca, I would bring her something every Monday. Rebecca?
Yeah. So that's a good segue. Thanks, Cheryl. So my journey is a little different. I began with the desire to be in law enforcement. So I enlisted in the Air Force, of course, right? After 20 years in the Air Force, it seemed like the perfect opportunity to use my Air Force experience to help protect the customers and infrastructure here at Verizon. So now I'm new to my role as the senior manager of the Network Cybersecurity Center. My education was a lot of focus around information assurance and computer science. My certifications, in Security Plus, A Plus, really helped me to have that foundation. I also utilized the SANS training for certifications, and that experience helped build skills. A lot of the group affiliations like WiCyS, gave me the opportunity to be able to feel like I was at home, being able to, you know, have different communities, be inclusive, a sense of belonging. You can bring your authentic self. Gave me a chance to really make an impact outside of my role. And also, WiCyS has allowed me the opportunity to be a veteran mentor. These affiliations have really supported me through my membership, my mentorship, building, team building events, my career development, and like Cheryl had mentioned, we're volunteer champions, and opportunities like this is really giving us, an opportunity to bring our authentic self every day. And you can probably not be surprised why we get along so well is I live to eat, right? So I'm talking about lunch during breakfast. So a little bit about me.
So why aren't women choosing a career in cybersecurity? Why should women consider a career in cybersecurity? Why are women needed in cybersecurity? Why we need more women in cybersecurity? And why is there a lack of women? So the first one, next one. Why are women not choosing it? There are a lot of reasons. They might not be aware of opportunities. It's a big industry and a lot of roles are emerging, so people might not, be aware of it. It is very competitive to get into a cybersecurity career. It does require people to be very accomplished, and it can be considered high stress. There is a stigma that it is a gentleman. It's a man or an intense businessman in a little suit with a bow tie. That's the stigma that used to be on cybersecurity. Some women might think of it as they might do dangerous combat only because of some of the terms that we use in cybersecurity, like war room or cyber attacks might be interpreted incorrectly. Perception. Women are often, not associated with cybersecurity roles or technical roles. That is the purpose of STEM. That is the purpose of WiCyS. It is to promote women into these roles and to have them, do these roles. Women are exceptional at doing cybersecurity. And the last one is obviously there's a gender pay gap. There's a gender imbalance, clearly from the statistics that I talked about earlier. More men than women, but women make up more of the executive suite. But that does not equate to pay. Men are still paid higher than women in cybersecurity. So 6 reasons women should consider a career in cybersecurity. It's job security. There's always going to be a need for cybersecurity. It does have high pay, may not be equal to some of the men that you would work with. You often can get scholarships and incentives for women. I know WiCyS provides scholarships to some of their members, especially to attend a WiCyS conference. And there are lots of these courses that you can take that WiCyS offers, or these webinars that the one that Rebecca and I are doing. A lot of these things are available. Companies are diversifying their workforce, so hiring women is a good thing for their workforce. And by doing that, it promotes equality and it breaks down stereotypes so that it can't be just men in cybersecurity. It can be both women and men in cybersecurity. And then there's an overall impact that you're helping the corporate and national security, because what we do can sometimes come into play with national security. So here are some of the prerequisites if you are able to achieve any of these. You can have a bachelor's degree in computer science or a similar field, maybe knowledge of firewalls or some various points of endpoint security, maybe some knowledge of some programming languages. It's definitely a fast-paced pressure environment. And you need to have the right eye for detail and definitely problem solving. And then keep yourself up to date with the latest news and cybersecurity trends. So there's skills required for cybersecurity jobs. There's hard skills that you need to have a technical aptitude, and you need to have basic fundamentals of computer networking or cloud computing or security across various platforms or forensics or hacking or many programming languages or protocols. But there's also soft skills, strong communication, a clear understanding of confidentiality. There's teamwork, there's strong problem solving, strong strategic thinking, strong presentation, and able to adapt to different audiences, and of course, work under pressure and high stress. Soft skills are transferable. So, women that are maybe doing a career change in the middle of their career, they have certain fundamental skills that would then consider those would be able to transfer into the cybersecurity arena. They might not be from the industry, but it might transfer as a soft skill. So some ways to help in pursuing a cybersecurity career, definitely a high school or college level internship opportunities. Rebecca's team is fostering several of those types of opportunities now. It's a great way for someone to get their feet wet in the SOC and really understand and learn. Rebecca can talk more about that. There is a lot of online and paid certification online courses that you can take. I've done a number of them. In fact, early on in my career, that is how I started to do it, because I had to have a different job working to support my family while I was learning cybersecurity. There are tons of training courses, programming courses, boot camps, networking courses, data analytics courses, and of course, a computer science or cybersecurity degree. And then there's hands-on and practical learning experience, which is actually how I got into cybersecurity. I was a Windows admin at a company, and someone trained me to help me learn cybersecurity. So that was hands-on until I started getting some of my courses and my certifications, which were covered by a lot by my employer. I'm going to share this screen with Rebecca. So inside of Verizon, we have several programs that promote young people into Verizon. So we build our talent pipeline. We have a leadership program. I know Rebecca's team really uses that program. That's where someone comes in through the program and they have a 3-year rotation in different disciplines. And at the end of the rotation, assuming that there is headcount available, that person will get to go into that discipline. We have a summer intern program. That's where someone who's in college comes in, and they're in their junior or senior year, and they do like a short term, like a 3-month kind of work program with us. And at the end of that, they can either transition into the leadership program. And in one case, I know for Rebecca's team, they actually converted somebody right from the summer intern program to a SOC analyst. This year, which is new for us, we're starting to work with some high school interns. So this is really nice for young people who are still unsure about what cybersecurity is or what they're going to do with their interest in technology. This is really a way for them to get real world experience in a full-time job. And then the last one, which I'm going to let Rebecca speak to you about, is the Military Fellowship and DoD Recruiting Program.
Great. Thank you, Cheryl. So I was actually recruited out of the Hire Our Heroes corporate fellowship, where they presented at a career fair, and Verizon just stood out to me as a company that supported our military, especially since the transition from military life into corporate life was very different. And an additional thing that impressed me is that the team was made up of military members. So they know, they speak military, right? They have that hands-on experience. And it was a great experience for me to be able to know that my skills were going to be noted and transferable into Verizon.
So inside of Verizon, there are many cybersecurity careers and disciplines. What you see in the center of the screen are some of the types of disciplines or the way that Verizon would categorize these types of cybersecurity. So once you're in Verizon, you certainly can move around and go into different disciplines and learn different areas. In fact, it's very much encouraged that you do that. So on the side, you'll see like career and growth. There are career interests. Maybe you're not sure what you want to do, but there are some questionnaires and some things that you can walk through that might help guide you to one or another area. You definitely can set up a job search to find a job. If you refer somebody into the company, I have referred several. You get, sometimes you get a reward for that. And of course, transferring to an affiliate, what that relates to on this screen is just moving from a business unit to another business unit.
Okay. So Verizon does so much, not only just for our students, but just for, potential employees. And this is where we're going to highlight. And it says here at the top, unleashes the potential, right? So there's limitless possibilities presented to students. This year, Verizon gave an opportunity to my team to be able to participate in that NAF, which stands for the National Academy Foundation, where it gave an amazing opportunity to a high school student. And we have a high school senior who's assigned to our team for 6 weeks. And he's able to explore exactly what a SOC analyst does from day to day. He's been through training opportunities, and it's been such a great experience for him and for our team as well. In addition, our team also is within our third year of having a VLDP, the Verizon Leadership Development Team member. And that is a great opportunity for our future leaders at Verizon. And they rotate within the enterprise. They're assigned to different business units. And actually our current VLDP, he's been assigned to finance, network assurance, and now here at the Network Cybersecurity Center. So that experience builds those leadership skills and the cross-training skills that is essential. And as I mentioned in the previous slide, I was hired out of the Hire Our Heroes initiative. And Verizon just goes above and beyond, especially with military that are transitioning from the military to corporate jobs. That diversity gives us that initiative to be able to ensure that we bring those military skills and they're transferable. Okay. And now we're going to get into a little bit of what the Network Cybersecurity Center does. So the Network Cybersecurity Center is a 24/7, 365, every day, all day, because the adversary is. Bad actors don't take holidays, and neither do we. We prepare, we monitor, we defend, we respond. They don't take into consideration holidays either, by the way, um, to, to those high visibility events and vigilant. So our office doesn't exactly look like this. I wish it did, but it doesn't. But we do have a lot of monitors and screens, and really the visualization is to know that we have the eyes on glass, right? We have analysts that are monitoring, detecting, we're analyzing, trying to mitigate, and we're recovering to business as usual. Our scope entails our internal network, applications, our infrastructure, our customer network. Things that we see on a day-to-day basis are those security events, right? Those alerts that require correlation. We're triaging, we're investigating to determine if this is really a security incident and if it's confirmed. Those operational events could translate to maybe an impacted application or network, maybe a brute force attempt, or denial of service, or firewall events. And this is how we do it, right? This is how the sauce is made, right? We're analyzing, we're characterizing those events, we're implementing and those configuration and maintaining security tools. We're not the hands-on keyboard teams, but we assist those engineering and operations teams to be able to deploy best security practices. And we're collaborating with our operations team and engineering teams, while all the while communicating with our other corporate security teams and our leadership. Being part of this, which is a very creative process, right? There's a range of roles and responsibilities, and here we're going to focus on these three key areas. All right. First, we focus on people. We live by the Verizon credo. It's one of the things that really impressed me with Verizon is that we focus outward to the customer. We stand by with integrity, respect, performance, and accountability. And those principles of how we live the Verizon culture every day. We're cross training and partnership throughout the enterprise is really critical to our success. Our cybersecurity analysts, they're the first responders, they're the boots on the ground. So ensuring that we train our people is essential. Those dynamic teams across different geographic locations ensures that we have that 24/7 support, whether is it with the operations and those engagements. That is all a part of that creative process where we're growing careers. We're using what we call a talent GPS to ensure that our people have the tools and the skills needed to, to be able to focus on incident response. Next, we're going to talk about the process, right? The process is all about how do we operationalize those standards that we live by, the ISO certifications. We live those standards in everything that we do. And of course, there's no shortage of method of procedures, what we call MOPS. We streamline that process throughout the analysts. And I think they'll probably let you know that we have a process for everything. And we optimize those workflows and to ensure that it's a strategic approach to every single incident. We're engaging our threat intelligence teams and our intel sharing throughout our intel sharing partners. And lastly, we're also looking for ways that we can be proactive, right? This is an ever-changing landscape. So engaging operations and maintenance teams to address any type of proactive measure that we can best deploy the best security practices. Now I'll move over to technology. There is no shortage of tools, and I think a lot of teams within cybersecurity would attest there are a lot of tools because not one tool does everything. So we streamline those tools, ensuring that we have the visibility, ensuring we're getting logs, we're correlating raw data into notable events. Implementing automation is key, using artificial intelligence and machine learning throughout all our systems. A unified ticketing system gives us the ability to engage other corporate security teams, legal, forensics seamlessly in accordance with our response times to minimize the dwell time. And ensuring that we know where our assets are, improving the knowledge and the understanding of any type of legacy networks or processes and procedures is critical to the process. Cybersecurity is a complex issue. I mean, I think no one is going to dispute that. But it's constantly changing, which means that we need a variety of knowledge and skills in the field to stay on top of security threats and trends. And The team has a diverse experience from government agencies, academia to corporate. They're essential and they're required to defend the network. There isn't an incident that we don't bring the most knowledgeable subject matter experts, our analysts, working through the night, knowing that the important thing is to serve our customers. And this is the combined experience that the NCC has. All right. I love this slide. I know it's the picture is from uh, an old, comedy show, but this is a typical day in cybersecurity. Yes, cybersecurity is a technical function. Information and network technical knowledge is very important, but it also needs someone that maintains a cool head during a crisis, that's willing to listen when an incident occurs and knows how to respond to the threat. A problem solver, they have to be proactive. They have to have attention to details, clear communication, being an active listener, and being humble, making sure that we're listening to our operations and engineering teams as together we work through an incident, responding, working through the incident response phases as quickly as we can to return to business as usual operations. And yes, as you can see, it sometimes feels like a whack-a-mole. As you prevent one security attack, another security threat is detected. And it's never ending. It's a battle, right? We're logging, let's say, for example, 200,000 things every second, 24 by 7, 365. And those time zones, they're killer. It's a pain point within an investigation. And knowing that we have exact timestamps is crucial. Here are some themes that are seen in cybersecurity teams. If you haven't already, I encourage you to review the Verizon DBIR, the Data Breach Investigations Report. It goes in depth into common patterns and these key themes as they impact different industries across different regions and their trends. Ongoing patches vulnerabilities, cloud data under attack, the security of remote work, the security of IoT devices, and still, the number one risk is still the human element. Feeling at home at Verizon. It's really important that for me to be able to communicate how in at Verizon we live our credo. Right? We're running to a crisis, not away. There isn't an incident where we don't bring those knowledgeable SMEs, like we call them, right? Subject matter experts. Here at Verizon, protecting people and the infrastructure and our brand is important. My team specifically supports operations and engineering teams as we understand how cybersecurity initiatives help the process and keep the network safe. It's amazing to see the partnership in real time. We have an environment where we work with talented engineers that work tirelessly to maintain the network. And we work together with network security to make sure we deploy the best applications and products securely. There is no shortage of volunteerism. I mean, volunteerism is not like when we get to it, it's a part of our everyday. Verizon's culture, called Cult Citizen Verizon, it's a volunteer strategy that allows us to focus on digital inclusion, climate protection, and human prosperity. And it's a commitment knowing that opportunities like this, we can participate and support our communities every day. Other opportunities are like the mentorship program that at WiCyS to mentor veterans that are transitioning. Those and role rotations also empower us to where we can see firsthand that value and the importance of career and personal development. And another volunteer opportunity that I wanted to highlight is the Verizon Women of the World Leadership Program. That was a volunteer opportunity that you could apply for, and it is a way that it's a leadership program is a way for Verizon is dedicated to supporting women and their strengths. and challenges. Of course, I have to mention them because there always are. This is a short list, and of course, I'm sure it's common everywhere. We have a lot of meetings. I will tell you that. We have a lot of meetings, right? So meeting fatigue is a real thing. I know necessary, but it is one of my challenges. And it's an ever-changing landscape, threat landscape. So we have to continuously train and educate, and never a shortage of resources, the need for resources. I'm going to pass it back over to Cheryl.
So WiCyS and Verizon have partnershiped quite a bit. The way that I was able to partner with our talent or our recruiting team was we actually went to a WiCyS recruiting event. And it was amazing to meet so many women that are interested in cybersecurity, some that are in the middle of their careers, some are just starting their careers, some are even just going into college and not sure what they want to look at. We think, by attending these types of events, we're elevating the Verizon brand. It is a wonderful, wonderful corporation to work for. They take a lot of pride in their employees, and they invest a lot in their employees because it's they consider their employees one of their pillars. So as we've talked about before, we build our pipeline through events like WiCyS and Verizon recruiting seminars, or our VLDP program, or some of the other programs that Rebecca had talked about. We partner with our talent acquisition and diversity teams. We try to build relationships and with mentors and with academia and government and industry. And some of those some of those relationships that we're building actually do come out of our volunteers. So it's really a win-win for everybody. And, it becomes your cyber tribe. These are other ladies you can talk to, and you can ask questions, did this happen to you? Or how did you overcome this? And you have friends for a very, very long time. These organizations are really key to help support each other while you're in cybersecurity.
So my experience, and I did want to share my WiCyS Denver conference experience from last year. It was really a great opportunity for me to network. I had never been to a conference like that. I did meet my cyber tribe there. It was so well organized, and it all started with networking via the WOHA app. You have to get out of your comfort zone, right? It took me saying yes to meeting new people. They presented the opportunity that if I wasn't at that conference, I probably wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. The motivational keynote speakers across different industries was amazing. I actually got to meet the veteran mentee that I was mentoring. She was in the mentorship program. And here I'm showing you actually my cyber tribe, my sisterhood. I'm going to give a big shout out to the Chicken Biscuit crew. And I know you guys are probably wondering why it's called Chicken Biscuit. And it all started, I told you guys I like to eat, right? So it all started with an idea. So when we met at getting out of that comfort zone, we had never met each other. We met, in the conference center, and someone said, there's this really great chicken and biscuits place we can go for breakfast. And I said, did you say food? Yes, we're going to that. And ever since then, we said, that's our name. And so one of our team members designed this, and I want to give a big shout out to each and every one of the sisters in the Chicken Biscuit crew. So thank you.
So let's do this. There is one other statement I want to include that, Rebecca, you had put in a presentation that I think is very pertinent here. Rebecca had a slide from a Deputy Chief Security Officer at MasterCard who said, forget getting the seat at the table. I built my own table. Would you want to come and sit with me? And I think it's perfect.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Cheryl. All right. So then I think we're at the question stage. Here are some resources that you'll see from some of the stats that Cheryl gave. And here are our questions. Oops, sorry, guys. Here are our questions. All right.
Fabulous. So oh, there we go.
Here we go.
Wonderful. Well, we have a whole bunch of questions that came flying in. So we have a little over 15 minutes to tackle these questions. Some of them are repeat questions, but I will get to as many as I possibly can for you two ladies. So the first question that I'd like to tackle is, how did you get your first job? It seems like that question came up multiple times through multiple attendees, which we had a great turnout to today's webinar. And I appreciate everyone sharing your afternoon with us today and being with the Verizon crew as they discuss this important topic. But I would like to hear from you two. Like, how did you get your first job? What was your first step? I know you had both two different pathways. And what was the first big one?
So I'll go first with that. I actually, when I married my first husband, we owned a mortgage company. And it was right at the time when they started connecting computers to do credit mortgage applications and then send them online. And I literally would follow the guy around the office who was connecting the computers to understand how this could happen and talk. And I fell in love with it. And then I just started from there taking computer courses. I built a network in my house and started taking things up and down. And then eventually I was able to get my very first job in just computing. And I worked my way up from that point. It wasn't a great pay initially, but it was where I wanted to go. And I knew that that was a field I wanted to expand in. So I was willing to do that.
Love it. Thank you. It's all about navigating through your career pathway. It's always great to hear the stories, to hear all these unique perspectives and what got Cheryl in the position that you're in right now and how have you advanced in your career. So Rebecca, share with us, quickly your first job.
Sure. So in the Air Force, it was more of an administrative type of position. And I was really interested in computers. I really wanted to kind of get the inner working. So kind of like Cheryl, we had a system admin that I just kind of was like, I want to learn. And I shadowed him and he gave me, he would train me. And it was definitely off hours. I had to do, my job. And then in addition to, the training with as a sysadmin. And, he took me under his wing and he, taught me everything. Back then, because I was younger and he was a master sergeant and I was just an airman. I was like, oh, I got to get everything that this master sergeant has to know. And it really opened up an opportunity for me to really get interested. I already had the interest in law enforcement. And so, when I had the opportunity to go into, it's a special organization within the Air Force called OSI. It's the Office of Special Investigations. And so I was able to apply those skills there at that agency within the Air Force. And that really sparked, that cybersecurity, like incident response type of, feeling. And so once I had that, it was like, this is what I want to do. And when I was retiring, I went to the Hire Our Heroes fair and, I came out with like a 20-page resume because I spent 20 years in the Air Force. And they told me, no, that's not going to work. And, Verizon, Tommy Jones, one of the recruiters was like, let me take a look at this. And even in that fair, they had people reviewing resumes. So I would definitely encourage everyone to go to a career fair where they do that, getting someone's outside opinion on your resume was crucial for me because they tore it up. They tore my resume apart, and it was great.
So it sounds like for the both of you, it took hustle and it took curiosity and it took asking questions and just kind of going down that rabbit hole and finding your path from there. So I love that. All right. Someone asked, I'm not exactly 20 something. How do I minimize the ageism I am experiencing? And I have been told by a recruiter that no one will want to hire me since I am over 40 with the frowny face. So, any recommendations or advice?
That recruiter should have been shot.
You know.
um, anybody at any age can enter into cybersecurity. And yes, it does take some hustle and bustle, and it does take opportunity and maybe a little bit of luck. But what you have in skill set and experience that brought you to this point is very valuable. And a lot of companies do value that experience. You know, I would say I'm closer to the end of my career than the beginning. So some people use the term seasoned. But what you have in life, that experience is transferable. So I'm not sure why a recruiter would ever even say that to you. Many recruiters from large companies, especially some of the Verizon ones that I've worked with, they will speak to everybody. And sometimes, you know, if they're not right for a position, they'll actually give them some good career advice, just like Tommy did for Rebecca. So I do think that much of your experience can be used as a transferable skill. So don't let anybody tell you you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Yes, and WiCyS has a virtual career fair August 17th. So now is your time. Verizon will be there. And so now is your time to, get your resume together and also be able to be a part of that and connect with the Verizon team. So, which leads us to our other question is how can you apply for Verizon internship? Does Verizon have internship opportunities open right now? And if so, I'm happy to put something into the announcements so that it's on the bottom of everyone's screen. We could put something there.
I'm not at, the internship programs are run through our talent acquisition team, and they would be able to provide the timelines and the dates. I do know that if you do access our career page externally, or if you're on one of the other job sites like Indeed or, wherever you like, or LinkedIn, wherever you do, if you do search, you can search by the company name and then internship. And many times, if there is roles or headcount or whatever available, they will pop up. I know they try to be ahead in years, so they will try to work with, let's say juniors in college who are graduating. But that does not preclude anybody who is not in college. So I urge everybody to try and look for that.
Yeah, Verizon has a really great careers page. So I would encourage everyone to go to the careers page and, look at all the different opportunities. They have different, filters. They have a, military skills builder where you can, see different skills that transfer in, and it's really, it's very precise, and there's a lot of details around it. So I really take the time to review it.
Great. Thank you. Okay, which lends itself to another question about the Verizon and your team is how big is your team? We have a couple questions popping in here, just more curious about your team itself and the structure. So,
So my team has 17 people on it because I count them. It's a lot. Yeah. Cheryl's laughing because she knows firsthand about this team.
So, in case you're wondering, Rebecca and I were on the same team, and I moved to a new role, and she has graciously accepted to be the interim senior manager of that role. So she actually called me yesterday, and she didn't have anything specific to say to me. She only said, "I have no idea how you did this."
I think I said something like, "Are you a superhero?"
My new team is much smaller. As Rebecca said, they're an operations team, and they do support all of network security. I am on an engineering team now where we are just now developing and implementing a brand new platform for cyber defense.
Wonderful. Okay, so just a general question is how would you ladies recommend others to discuss the topic of remote work, working remotely with employers? Is this a conversation that you have to have with your team or that you yourself have had with your direct reports? And how does this conversation go about, or what are any recommendations that you have for this?
Um, it You go ahead, Rebecca. I'll
Yeah,
answer
I
after.
think that I think even before, the pandemic, we were in a state of we were always really geographically separated. So I think that, we were very much in line with, this hybrid, approach that a lot of companies are in right now. And I think it's definitely, a conversation to have up front. Especially in this type of field, it's definitely it's doable, right? The combination of that work. But I think it's a good opportunity to just have that conversation up front so that everybody has the expectation going in.
Yes, I agree. Cheryl?
Um, so now I forgot what I was going to answer about. Sorry, I turned the screen to look at something else. What was your question, Lynn? I'm sorry, what was the question?
Any type of advice that you have for employees that are seeking a
Oh,
remote
for the remote
workplace?
work. Yeah. So it's interesting because remote work was not very popular, obviously, before the pandemic. And you would think, being a telecommunications company, we would allow it much more, but we were not. We were a very small percentage of our footprint of our workforce was remote. And literally, when the pandemic happened, within a week, I would say, we almost went to 100% remote. It was not a optimal use case, but it definitely proved the point, especially not just for Verizon, but organizations, schools, other types of industry where there could be that type of flexibility. So I think when you're looking for a job, whether it's in cybersecurity or not, I think it's a very fair question to ask your prospective employer or the recruiter. Is hybrid an option or remote an option? Um, that is a very reasonable question. It's a very reasonable thing to want to know because companies do offer that now. It
Right.
also expands their recruiting base, right? Because if you can have somebody that, before you had to have in your local geographical area, now you can expand and you can hire somebody in another place that maybe you didn't have the opportunity to have because they had to be in an office.
Right. So it sounds like your advice also is like for the folks that are listening on the call that asked that question is to leverage your resources, like know your facts and leverage your resources when you're making that ask. Advocate for yourself in those needs because the companies are definitely taking a lot more of the remote workforce into consideration. So it seems like Verizon, though, was a little ahead of their time. So,
Yes.
One thing I just want to go back on one of the recruiters. I have a message back and forth going with. He did let me know that 2023 summer internships will begin posting at the end of August, early September.
Nice.
excellent. And I did put that link there, the verizon.com/cybersecurity. It's displaying on the bottom of everyone's screen. So that's added there as well. So you could definitely check that out. And if anyone has any additional questions about the Verizon internship, you could certainly email info@WiCyS.org and we could address those questions to Cheryl and Rebecca as well and to that team. All right, so back to the questions. I don't have a degree in cybersecurity, but I did take an extensive professional program in it. Does that make a difference? So, ladies, It's a tough one. The certification, the degree.
I'm personally, I'm gonna say it doesn't. I know when I went to the WiCyS career fair, I actually talked to several women who did not have a cybersecurity degree. They had degrees in other areas. But as we've said before, just because it's a degree in another area doesn't mean that some of the things that you've studied or some of the things that you've done in your past work experience do not transfer over. They are transferable. You know, you might be a mathematician. That's a very technical, analytical thing, but you wouldn't think about that. But somebody who's very technical and analytical would be very good in cybersecurity. That's just one example.
Yeah, and those soft skills, I mean, we can't forget about those, right? We talked about how the technical skills are very important, and the field is very technical. But having access to those soft skills like attention to detail, like follow up, like being able to be cool and an active a listener during an incident is really important, right? There are a lot of people that are very technical that maybe don't have those skills down 100%. So making sure that it's a balance between both of them is key.
You know, one thing I just want to say, Rebecca and her team have a tremendous onboarding program that is geared towards people who are new to cybersecurity. And it's very extensive. They go through and teach you the tools, they teach you the terminology, the endless acronyms that I will not go into. Rebecca, my second day at Verizon handed me a dictionary of acronyms like that. But and they're designed to do that so that you don't have to have all the answers when you first come in.
Right. All right, one more question, and then we'll do like a key takeaway from Rebecca and Cheryl just to leave the folks with. But the question before we get to that is, are you currently hiring entry-level SOC analysts?
Good question. Yeah, I would always refer back to, that careers page, and I'm actually looking at that cybersecurity career pairs. Verizon has so many security teams. So it's really good to kind of check all of them out. And
Yep.
that's kind of a good measure, of what's available.
So dive right in. Whoever asked that question,
Yes.
start checking out that page, start
There,
scoping around.
there is no shortage.
Right. And go to the WiCyS virtual career fair, the Verizon booth, and there's job postings there. There's all sorts of just different. Start navigating yourself, advocating and navigating your career pathway from these opportunities here. So Cheryl and Rebecca, it's been wonderful. Thank you. Verizon has been first a long time WiCyS conference supporter. And so we're super grateful for that. And then now tier 2 or tier 3 strategic partner for the second year in a row. So that's very exciting. So we really appreciate your support and everything that you do with the WiCyS organization within the WiCyS community in so many different areas. So I'd like to leave the audience with words from you. And that's just a key takeaway. What do you want to leave the audience to walk away from this, to take an action on or do something or know from the mouths of Rebecca and Cheryl? We want to leave that with our audience. So Rebecca?
I would say do something you love that you make an impact. I know for me, what's really important is if I'm making an impact here. Am I making an impact?
Love it. And Cheryl?
From me, I would say don't let somebody tell you you can't do something. It just means you have not yet mastered that particular task to completion. You can do it. So if you're talking to somebody that tells you you can't, you're talking to the wrong person.
That's right. Let those words be the power within you to even make you go even harder moving
That's
forward.
right. That's right.
Yes. Well, this has been a lovely little time in their afternoon that we got to spend together. So I appreciate Rebecca, Cheryl, both of you to be able to put together this wonderful presentation for the WiCyS organization. And I'm really grateful for the audience for sharing a part of your afternoon with us all. And if you have any additional questions, reach out to info@wicys.org and we will navigate that inquiry from there and move it forward over to the Verizon team. So I appreciate that. With that, it's a wrap. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.